Alright, I have hit the go live button. Episode 113 with description a video.
Very good. Very good. It's very descriptive.
Got it. It says we're live right now, and I can see happening now. Episode
I bet that's
113 is
yeah.
showing up on the side of the base book. So,
Whoa! This description's no good at all.
a video. This is going to be on my application to the next VTubing agency that I apply to. Here, I've got experience with live streaming. Episode 113, a video. Welcome to the Canada Guns Talk Show, episode 113. What the fuck did Crover call this? Halloween specially lame special. We're your hosts, us guys. Introduce yourselves. Because I'm irrelevant.
Adriel the hunting gear guy.
Runkle of the Bailey.
And I'm irrelevant.
Yeah. Hi, irrelevant. I'm Dad.
Well, you can say that. What have you done with guns recently, Dad?
Transferred or given them all away, except for my AR. Those I could not. So those I still have. I'm moving, so I sold or transferred everything except for my ARs, and I have this. It's not really a gun though. It's a spotting scope. One of the guys on Facebook, Lucas Riflecraft, was saying these are a really good deal. This is the Bushnell Tac Series spotting scope. It's got like a mil hash reticle in it, and it's a 15 to 45. It's a little bit smaller than your standard spotting scope because it uses a folded light path. And I didn't have a reticle spotting scope. Actually, I didn't have a spotting scope. I had a spotting scope before. It was cheap and crappy. I got a $1,200 rifle scope that was better than any spotting scope you can get, up to like $500 or more. So I just went with that. I thought I'd get another one, and so I got this one. Supposed to be good. I need to get it outside,
Hit
though.
the go live button.
So far, I've just like glassed my neighbors and that kind of thing, and been all creepy. Yeah, general idea with one of these is this is like a PRS style spotting scope. You got your twist up eye cap there. You have a reticle focus, so it focuses the reticle, and then you have a regular focus, and then you have your magnification. So
what's the magnification on that one?
15 to 45 by 60 objective. But it's cheap. This is it's like 460 or so delivered. So
Yes,
I can't imagine at 45 it's going to be very good.
Oh, I know. I've got my spotting scope goes up to 60, I think, on it, and it was the same kind of thing. I think it was like retailed at 450. It's another Bushnell one as well.
Yeah,
It's
a lot of
pretty
those
decent.
ones. The highest magnification is not as useful as like a mid or something like that.
It's pretty good. As long as it's on a stable, as long as the wind's not too bad and it's on like a stable mounting thing, which like
you need a
I got an
tripod as well.
Amazon Basics tripod for it, and it's fine.
I don't have a $600 tripod, but I've got a decent tripod that I'm going to run this thing
And I
on.
don't know that Amazon Basics is a decent tripod. Some dude showed up at the
No.
range one time with like a professional rig meant for stabilizing film cameras that he had his spotting scope like hanging upside down in, and he's like, "Yeah, I got this shit from my job, and I just used it at the range with the spotting scope." And I'm like, "Damn."
Yeah, a really good tripod would be like something with nice thick legs on it, and then you may suspend a sandbag or something from the middle of it. Like a lot of them will have a hook for that, and that just adds weight to the whole system, so it doesn't want to move. And then like the really nice one to have like a head on it that's very easy to adjust, so you can adjust the head, move the scope to where you want it, and then tighten it down again.
Yeah, the head
And
on
the
mine's not
basics
super
ones won't be like
adjustable.
that. You gotta pay a ton for that though. Anyways, I'm hoping to just use this for like range stuff and maybe some rimfire stuff. I don't know. I've got another scope that's in mil, so now I guess I can match that up with that if someone was spotting. And in the PRS world, everyone uses mil. No one uses MOA.
Yeah.
So
Look
I
who
gotta
showed
start
up. It's someone else
doing
who's
that.
relevant.
I'm not that relevant. We're not live, are we?
You're more relevant than I
Yeah,
am.
we're
Yes, we
live.
are live.
yeah.
Oh,
I don't really like this case though. Like, so this is the case that you'd use to along with this thing. It's just
Yeah,
like
that's
there's a lot
kinda
of Velcro on it.
Yeah, the case that
What's
mine
that?
came in is like a fucking like hard case with like padding all around it. It's got a soft case inside that hard case.
Yeah,
The case
I
makes
don't.
it look
I wouldn't
like
use
you're
a hard
smuggling
case.
No.
I wouldn't use a hard case just because I need something that's portable and doesn't take up a shitload of room in my gun bag and that kind of thing.
Grab
But
mine.
there's a couple of oversights on this one. Like this is the lens cap. You see a hole there for like a little lanyard or something that would like hopefully there's no such thing. There's none that comes with it. No attachment point on this thing for this. It just goes in there.
Wait,
And,
get a
like,
drill and make your own. I'm sure that'll work out well.
I got a Dremel, and I am willing to do some damage to this thing.
This is the case
but,
that my spotting scope comes in.
Yeah, that's too much. That's too much.
Pretty big, and then
Adriel, how much was that scope?
460 shipped everything.
like I open it up and it's got this case inside it.
That's not very form fitting either.
So you're all in the wrong track. You need to go to Canadian Tire, and then find a $150 Bushnell scope, and then once they keep discounting it for about 6 years until they just want to get rid of the stock, and they put it on sale for $30. That's when you buy it.
And my dad got his spotting
Cheap
scope
spotting
for like 60.
scopes. Cheap spotting scopes aren't worth anything. They're no good. You will get better optical quality out of like a rifle scope. There's no point.
Yeah,
It's
so-
just that you're carrying around a big shitty thing. It's got lots of magnification, but there's no clarity to it.
So I got
I would
this,
say-
and I finally
yeah.
can look at what it is. It's the Trophy X65. So it's a 20 to 60 by 65 from Bushnell. And it's got, standard tripod mount on the bottom. It comes with this, which I'd use at my range, except for the fact that I can't see under the fucking baffles with this because fuck Ontario.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's got the this here and the zoom, and
Stuff,
it's got
yeah,
focus
yeah.
here. It's a pretty okay spotting scope. Got it on employee discount.
Hey, where are we broadcasting to?
Facebook.
Facebook.
What-
Yeah, I mean, so I've got a $1,200 rifle scope. I typically just use that for everything. It's way clearer than most spotting scopes that I've used. Up until like when you start spending real money on a spotting scope, yeah, they're better. But you got to spend a ton of money on a spotting scope in order to get there. I'm curious if this is finally there. I ran into the same technical challenge with rangefinders. Like 10 years ago, I bought a rangefinder, and the stupid thing would range find out to like 300 reliably and no further. And that wasn't super useful because at 300 I can guesstimate and plug a deer no problem. I need range finding
at
to
300
for 4
with a
or
300
5.
mag, your hold is the same hold you had at 200.
Even with 308, you're not holding that much. And yeah, so I mean, that was back then. Just recently here, I spent $400 on a rangefinder. It's good to like 1,000 plus. Like, so the technology there has,
How
has
SIG?
Though.
yeah, that's SIG. Oh, super reliably. I can hammer deer no problem with that thing. And that thing has ballistic holdovers that you can punch in. So I can punch in the ballistic profile for 6.5, lays the deer, hold over on my reticle, send it, and smoke a deer at 500 or whatever. Right, no problem.
Impressive.
So I'm hoping that spotting scopes, the technology has come far as well, because I bought a $300 spotting scope like 10 years ago. It's in the garbage right now. Like, it just wasn't more useful than a nice scope. So
I mean, I know
I'm
with
hoping
my
that
dad,
they're better now.
he has like he got it for like $60 at Canadian Tire on sale or Costco or something, and it
Yeah.
it worked well enough for like out to 100 or so. And I mean, this
Yeah.
one I got, like I said, it works fine as long as it's properly stabilized. And that's the only real issue, is getting it on like a stable mounting platform, and then these fucking things, because like I can't get my eye close enough to it with proper eye relief. I literally have to raise my glasses and actually focus it to my left eye, so I can just like lean over and stick my left eye in it to go and take a look downrange.
A lot of spotting scopes are like that. A lot of the newer ones, you can actually, like, with glasses, you don't have to go all the way up to them. Like right there, is focused right in. If you want to, you can do the twist up and then just jam your eyeball right onto it, so that you've got another stabilization.
With mine,
but with
I've
glasses,
gotta
like
get
that.
my eye like right up in it, or I get like a lot of like black box around it.
Yeah, it's hard to
What
get.
you need
the
to do
proper
is invest
eye
in
relief.
some eye surgery for eyes.
That's what
I
did.
actually
contacts.
kind of want to do that.
I did that 12 years ago. 15 years ago. Holy shit. Yeah. Still good. It's fantastic. Super good investment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
no,
I
like,
kind of want to
nowadays-
do that. Just it's such a pain in the butt when you're like hunting around. Where are my glasses? I'd love to leave all that behind.
And my dad
And then
got-
motorbiking and hunting and all this stuff where you like glasses are a pain in the ass. You go hunting, it's like cold to hot. You get condensation on it.
My dad got it
Motorbiking,
done,
stick
but
them
he
on.
still has to wear reading glasses.
Yeah,
Worth it.
I mean it's still better than where you were. There's a few people who end up with really bad results, but that's the kind of thing that terrifies me.
See, the thing is,
Hey,
my
speaking
mom
about bad
wanted.
results, how about that election, eh?
Let's move the fuck out of the country.
Listen, I don't have enough scotch for this, so he didn't say that was going to be the topic.
Any more gun things to talk about, Adriel?
No, I don't have any. They're they're gone. The only thing I have is like the guts of some AR-15s, and they're in a safe and waiting until I move.
All right, Senor Runkle, what about you?
I sadly haven't done pretty much anything firearm related other than my Section 74 battle, which is court related because you can't actually do anything with the guns when you're fighting to preserve firearm.
Sir, I think
Procedural fairness.
That might be slightly more important than all our menial bullshit.
Just a little bit.
But at the same time, I would rather, I enjoy being out at the range. And I've managed to not get into, because I was in panic for that, I had to give away my spot at one of the 3-gun matches. And then I've managed to not get into another 3-gun match since. I managed to buy a pass to it 2 days before, and then I couldn't move around my schedule to actually make sure I could go for the last one. And the next one is booked solid, so I'm just like...
Hey, Adriel, hook him up, man. Just make some magic happen.
Oh, I don't want to be the
I
guy.
haven't been doing anything in 3-gun recently either. I don't have
thing is-
3 guns.
I don't want to be the guy who's like, hey, I'm not trying to pull weight or anything. I'm a random dude.
You gotta throw your dick
So,
around.
why did you
No.
sell all your shit when you're moving versus just move with your shit?
Because
I don't
I
get
would have
that
to be
either.
showing a house with how many safes and how much gun paraphernalia. Like, it takes up a significant portion of my house.
I know
That's
what you
fair.
mean.
I mean, that
It's
is
significant. People would have questions. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, this looks like a nice place. What the hell is going on in this corner over here?"
Just tell them that's where you keep your meth, and that'll stop them from asking any questions.
lock
There's so
that
many
room
documents.
and don't
So
tell
many
them about
documents.
it.
So many documents that need securing. Why do they have so many gun stickers on them? Why are they plastered in gun stickers?
I mean, that's going to be a concern of
mean,
mine when I
no.
move out of here, is like them showing this apartment with safes in the bedroom closet.
Safes.
Eventually, my wife and I plan to knock our house down and try to build another one on the same site. And when I do that, I think one of my game plans is going to be a hidden room that is built as a proper sort of vault sort
And
of
don't
storage.
tell the next owners about it when you sell, so that they get a surprise.
Exactly. It'll just be like, oh, And if you build a hidden room right, then nobody knows it's there.
Also,
I plan on
also-
buying a place with a big enough basement I can put a vault
Oh,
into
please
it.
do.
Build one.
You've been to my basement, and it's just, and I wish it was bigger, but my little gun space, my corner, chef's kiss.
Yeah, it's
Whole basement.
Just walk down the
Well, I
stairs,
also-
there's just a vault door.
well, I figure I also do the video recording. If I have it sort of built, sturdily enough, then hopefully it'll keep out like dog noise and so forth, and I could set up like a little filming station in there, and
buddy,
also
if you-
have it as my gun room, so it would just be like a wall of guns behind me.
We're
And-
thinking the same thing. Maybe a green screen, maybe some
Yeah.
permanent, like nice lights set up. Oh,
Like
yeah.
a pull down
Also-
green
also
screen so that I
a
can
nice-
set it
a
up
nice
something
leather
else.
couch and a wooden desk.
No,
I
on
don't think I-
the back wall, get someone to do a macro photo of your Chiappa Rhino with paid for by the CFO of Alberta and get it framed right behind you.
Oh, well. The thing is now we've got a new CFO out here who I'm told is a firearm owner, so I'll probably have to be nicer to them.
Look at that. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Yeah, you
And
guys are
so,
lucky.
although my firearm business license application is still at pending status, so I'm hoping that'll. I
That's
want to
okay.
see
It
that
took
get
me-
rolled
It
through.
took ages to approve my restricted shotgun. It literally took like 4 months of me calling every couple of weeks, going, "So what's happening? So what's happening?" They're like always like, "Oh yeah, it's with the officer in charge of your file. It's with the officer in charge of your file."
Oh, and
Finally,
I
got
know that
through
my
it.
application just has like this guy is a headache and this application is a nightmare stamped right on the front of it, because for
You-
video production, I am asking for all the things, and
all of them.
oh yeah, it's like, what do you want to be able to do? Possess, manufacture, import prohibited weapons, prohibited firearms, prohibited ammunition, and I'm sure somebody there is just like, Runkle, no.
They're probably
But I
also
mean-
looking at it going, how do we tell him no without getting sued?
That isn't really an option because, I mean, I've already budgeted in my time on this one that this may end up going to court over the
that's-
fight over it.
That's exactly
But, I
it.
mean-
They're looking at this and going, how do we say no and not have him immediately challenge it? And they're trying to rack their brain to find a way.
But I mean, the
Yep.
thing is I've got a better reason for this than a lot of people, because there's a lot of stuff where it's like, hey, I get this question all the time. Hey, this thing I found online, is it a prohibited weapon? And I'm like, I can't tell without handling it. And there's no way in hell I'm going to try to bring one of those things across the border if I'm not real sure the answer is no.
But don't you want to order some oil filters from Wish?
I still need to do the video on that because every so often somebody gets charged, and yeah,
It's honestly it honestly makes me laugh so much because I'm
you're
not
everyone.
that-
I
I'm
mean, the
not
Canadian
that-
Border Services
yeah.
Agency will open anything right now if it's marked oil filters. So, if you wanted to troll the Canadian Border Services Agency, you could just start slapping oil filters on every package sent into the country, and they will hand search every single one of
So the
them.
problem with that is then they'll start being assholes and charge duty on things they weren't going to charge duty on.
Yeah, but I mean,
So,
like,
yeah,
you could put it on an envelope. Like, that envelope
Uh,
could be a flat envelope marked oil filter, and they would search it. 'Cause,
Gasoline line filter.
it's
Yeah.
just like anybody who's sitting there thinking, oh, yeah, this is not, oh, yeah, maybe they won't notice. They're going to notice. And, like, CBSA is not, they're not out of the loop on this one. They know exactly what the issue is. And all these people like, I thought it was an oil filter. Really? You looked at that picture and you thought oil filter?
When you
'Cause-
order it, on the special notes, you got to say, please label dildo. No one's going to open that.
You know what? I bet that's
Bulk
Special
used
instructions.
dildos.
Please label as coming from baddragon.com.
the
No,
thing is that
Uncle
every
Ben's used dildos emporium.
there's always going to be some new guy who works at CBSA and is getting hazed, and that's the guy who's going to be told, like, you got to search the used dildo. You probably just volunteered to be searched by the new guy who's already going to be in a sort of state of upset.
Very good. Very good.
The new guy's looking for content for his fledgling YouTube channel.
Oh, but yeah, so I haven't been up to much, although next month I have signed myself up for the Desert Brutality thing, which I am so not ready for.
You're flying down to the States?
That's the plan.
Are you going to be
Uh,
bringing stuff, or are you going to be trying to get
I'm going to
stuff
be
down
borrowing
there?
stuff. I'm going to be borrowing stuff because I've got people arranging to pick up ammunition, and I'm going to be borrowing firearms, and I don't want to. I don't want that hassle. Uh,
That's worth
People
it.
sometimes ask me, "Hey, you're a lawyer. What do you do? In terms of getting guns from the States?" And I'm like, "There's some companies that do that as a specialty thing. I hire them. Like, that's who I go
I
with
mean, I
because
know
it's just
what you're looking at is a temporary import, and as far as I'm aware, it's a Form 6N1A through the ATF. You file that a couple months in advance, as long as it's not something that's prohibited from entry to the U.S.
And the problem is that you get your paperwork wrong, and the U.S. is super unforgiving. So sometimes it's just like, oh, you got your paperwork wrong, we're going to bounce you at the border. Okay, no big deal. But sometimes it's, oh, you got your paperwork wrong, so you've committed a criminal offense, and so we're going to charge you. And Canadian criminal law tends to be fairly forgiving on a lot of that stuff. U.S. criminal law is like, oh yeah, the mandatory minimum on this is like a decade. You're like,
Well, the
so
thing with the paperwork being wrong is the ATF will send it back to you and say the paperwork's wrong. You can't import it.
yeah, and then you have to worry about the guy at the border. You have to worry about
There's
actually the
lots of
Canadian
hassle
border is
to shoot a 3-gun match. Like, what
yeah.
what gun are you going to take down there?
Well, at this point, since the ARs have
someone's
all been banned.
AR-15.
Yeah, since
Yeah,
since
but
ARs up here have been
horrible.
banned and we can't take them down there, you can. Well, you bring a
It's
WK.
way better for Ian to just borrow stuff. Go
Yeah.
down there. Someone will have an AR, 30-round mags, and
That's exactly it too.
shotgun pistol, regular cap mags. It's going to be way better.
Like you're going down there and you're like, "Hey, everybody, look, I've got my 10-round magazines." That's
Which, I mean, you could buy local or drill or pin or whatever while you're in the U.S., but why? You just borrow all
I
that stuff.
know who the
Yeah.
hell was it? Spectre Ballistics did that once or twice. He had a video up on his old YouTube channel, I think, of him just drilling a rivet out of his AR mag when he went down to the States and going, "It's this easy. I have a rivet gun for when I come back."
And the flip side of that is that I'm sure that if I put a video up of me drilling out a rivet, even though if I said, "Hey, I am in the United States right now, and look at the look at the geography behind me in the hotel window. It is the United States." I'd probably still get a tactical raid because somebody would just, they'd be like, "Oh, Runkle drilled out a rivet. Send in the horse cops." And
We finally got him.
yeah, I don't
Her
need that.
Majesty's Pony Police.
You know what happened actually not too long ago? Actually, it was it yesterday or today? You remember Chris, the guy on chat with the on the mod queue with the gun in the wall, but a gun on the wall. I had a guy. It came in the.
Oh, with the safe, and you couldn't tell
Yeah.
it was a safe.
Yeah, there was just a picture, right, of a guy with a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol trigger locked, hanging on the wall. And I'm like, nope, that's illegal. So I deleted the post, and then the guy asked, well, why is this illegal? And then I said, you can't just hang a pistol from your closet, man. You gotta have it securely attached to a non-portable structure. And he goes, well, that's my walk-in safe in my walk-in closet behind a padlocked door. And I'm like, yeah, that just looks like a closet, man. You gotta put a clarification in there somewhere.
Yeah, and lots of people have all sorts of notions as to what counts, and in some cases it can be like, "Hey, I'm a lawyer and I don't know if this counts."
We
People
don't know.
are like,
There's not enough case law on it.
"Yep," and you'd be the first guy to discover, and they'd say, "Oh, hey, guess what? We don't think this is enough."
We had a chainsaw and a grinder in like 2 days, and we got in, so it's not.
Oh, that was that fucking dude in Toronto who had a vault in his condo. The criminals busted in over the course of 2 days, and they tried charging him. He just stayed in Florida for 10 years until they dropped the charges.
I mean, that's the thing is, I could get into pretty much any sort of structure you might have in your house in 2 days with equipment. I mean, you hire a guy to come in with a thermal lance, and pretty much whatever you got is getting opened. But
If the house burns down, the vault is open.
yeah, or just hey, I got a chainsaw and a grinder. There's not a whole lot that that doesn't fall to that. So
Anything is
Remember,
possible with a
most saves
Dremel
have
and
a
enough
rating
bits.
Most saves have a rating about how long it takes to get into that safe with what is it? Is it a
Oh, yeah,
Grinder?
that's-
No,
Grinders.
no, it's the big one, the big chop, like a chop saw.
Yeah, and it's
Like a
usually
chop.
minutes. You know, it's like unless you've got a really good safe, you're talking about a tool rating that is minutes, not hours, minutes. And typically they have an explosives rating of 0, which is basically if somebody comes up with explosives, they're going to get into it because, I mean, of course.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, there's the kind of the risk that you destroy what's ever inside of it.
Well, at this
If,
point, you gotta remember they're trying to blow into a safe. I think at that point, things are just whatever. We just need to get in.
And if you've got guys who are professionals at that, I mean, they can go in and just knock the hinges off and knock themselves a very precise hole into it. A lot of the time, these guys are real. Like some of the stuff that these explosives guys can do is real. It's artistry. You're just astounded that they can be that precise.
I mean, yeah, but you're not likely to see that busting into someone's house in the city.
no, but you might see that, for instance, if the police really want to show that your safe was not good enough. They might be like, we hired a guy to get in it, and he got in it in,
Mr.
7.
Uncle.
We
Yeah.
went on YouTube and picked this random guy called Lockpicking Lawyer, and he got in there in like a minute.
Well, Ian, Mr. Uncle,
Yeah.
is there a legal definition in the law for a gun room?
Not that I've been able to find. I mean, it's, they say like a room constructed for the storage of firearms. Well, that implies that it was constructed for that purpose. But,
I mean,
like,
I
What
can
is
make
that?
myself a little flag that says gun room construction guy and just,
yeah, what does that mean? I mean, because you got to
So-
figure that, like, residential construction, let's say that door was a magic door and you couldn't possibly get through it. Well, that wall is not a magic wall, and you could kick your way through it. There's only so
I mean,
much durability you can
This
realistically
is why I've
have.
wondered about, like, you put perforated sheet steel behind the drywall, so that way someone can't just kick the wall through.
So I get this question frequently when I'm teaching the PAL courses, and I go, if you put a padlock on your closet and you tell the judge that you build a gun room, the judge is going to laugh in your face. If you go through the trouble of reinforcing the floor, reinforcing the ceiling, reinforcing the walls, using posts instead of 2x4s, reinforcing the door frame, reinforcing the hinges, reinforcing the deadbolts, multiple deadbolts, or just get a trigger lock.
I mean,
I
the
think that
difference
there's
with that is that
Yeah.
you could also padlock the closet, and that's technically fine
Yes.
for non-restricteds, as long as
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. When this question always, and it comes up every single time I mention, yes, you can store the non-restricted in a difficult to break into container, in a safe, in a cabinet. You can just put a trigger lock on it, or you can build a gun room. I'm like, oh, well, what's a gun room? It's like, then I give them that spiel.
I
and
mean,
they
you
go,
don't have
"Okay,
to
I'll just-"
build a gun room for even restricted. You don't have to build a gun room. You just have to securely
No.
lock the room.
No, lots of people want a securely locked room that is constructed for the purpose of storing firearms. Because, just a securely locked room is not, So I'm pulling up the regulations here.
I was
But
actually thinking
I
about
let
doing the
you in
same.
on a little secret from moderators, privileges. We had a guy who got, and you might remember him. He had a substantial collection. He got his shit taken away because he let somebody into his house, I think, do some work. They saw his shit in a room. They called the cops. The cops came, and he said, "Well, yeah, no, the gun is a gun room." And he's like, "Bullshit! It's just the door, man." And they took it all.
Should have had
Yeah,
that door locked, not let the cops in.
Well, and you got to remember that most of your interior doors, like if you're sitting there going, "Oh, the door is locked." Well, your interior door you can typically get through with a pocket knife. They're
Well,
real
the hollow
weak.
core, you can just like a
Yeah,
light
you-
kick will knock a
See,
hole
see
in 'em.
you frequently say that you're a smaller framed individual.
Oh yeah, I'm not
You
exactly,
can get through a door. Like you see your shoulder, you can get through a door.
Yeah, I mean, I am not the Rock, but an interior door, I can get through.
I mean,
They're
the
not,
regulations just say start in a container, receptacle, or room that is kept securely locked and is constructed so it cannot be readily broken open or into. I suppose the debate is what is readily broken open or into, because it doesn't necessarily need to be designed for the storage of firearms, except for restricted firearms if you want to store them without a trigger lock on. If you want to just
Which is
trigger lock
what people typically
Yeah.
want to do. They want to have a room where they can sit there and, have the cool gun wall, because the gun wall is badass, right?
Yep.
You know,
But,
you
I
see
mean-
it in so many movies where, the main character goes into this room and he's got his wall of guns, and yeah, so lots of people want that, but when they're going to actually looking at designing the room, if you don't, I think, because there's not really a test and there's not really case law, what it's come down to in the few cases that exist is basically, is the judge impressed by the amount of work you put into it? Because if the judge is not impressed,
Reinforce the floor, reinforce the ceiling, reinforce
Yeah.
the wall, reinforce the door frame, reinforce the door, reinforce the deadlock.
yeah, I mean, ideally, what you want to be able to show is like, listen, this is gonna take some work. And my favorite thing whenever it comes up in cases, because I have yet to see the Crown take one of these to trial, although I've seen them lay charges, is when the cops try and fail to get somebody's guns and then have to come back with like additional equipment and expertise. And I've seen them lay charges saying, oh, this wasn't securely enough. And I'm like, it was securely enough to stop 4 cops with a crowbar. So, like, you want to run that at trial? And the Crown is, every time that's come up, the Crown has said, nah, we don't think we do. But you got to get your storage to that point first, right? Where you've got several guys who are not small people who have tried and failed.
Or
And-
under Ontario case law, you buy one of those stack-on cabinets, and it is legally a safe, because under case law, in Ontario at least, a safe is any 6-sided metal container with a lock.
And that has actually been upheld here in Alberta. That case was, and I know this because I was running that case. So I mean, I think it's good law here in Alberta as well. They explicitly followed Barnes.
So
I
buy
mean,
an
if-
old school locker, slap a Dudley on it, and guess what? You got a gun safe.
But the thing is, it's always better to be.
actually use school lockers in the PAL courses. It's like, so is a school locker a secure storage container? And people go like, oh no. And I say, remove the school locker from the school. Is a school locker a securely locked, difficult to break into container? They're like,
Yeah, don't store it in an actual school. That
Pumped up kicks intensifies.
what a great show. Hey, what do you think is gonna get banned?
Oh, I don't even like. People ask me this, like, "Hey, what should I be buying in anticipation of bans?" And it's like, first, that's kind of a losing game. Second, buy whatever you want to shoot. Because if they're not grandfathering anything,
Not
then
that.
hey, I bought it before the ban.
Anything but that.
Oh, if that.
Buy
Come on.
30 of that.
Ugh.
Yes.
Adriel, you don't like the purple pearl? Come on.
Those things are
I'm
like,
gonna-
what, 260? Just go buy enough of those to arm like a Wild West fucking, like, Pink Pistols militia.
I'm gonna say go buy the what is it, the SS211, that little short shotgun. Make a run on those, because if you guys are buying that stuff up, it means you're not buying the stuff I want to buy. So the prices aren't jumping, and like
See,
that.
What you really need is some big dick energy.
Oh, is that a Rough Rider? 16-inch barrel? So I
The
guess
thing
we...
is, there's not a whole lot of guns I've not enjoyed shooting, and that was a gun I did not enjoy shooting.
But see, I was gonna go shoot this today, but then life happened and I had to do some work. Tomorrow, I'm gonna do a comparison between these two beauties.
I'd be curious what your accuracy difference is like with them.
Well, the thing is, you can do this one-handed. Like, you can go like and hold it and hold it and hold it, and very quickly you start to go.
Have you got your black badge? Because what you need to do is get a holster for that thing, walk in, and then just draw that from the holster.
What is he, Jim Carrey?
No. God, that's not Jim Carrey. Fucking Luddy.
That was Jim Carrey as the Mask, wasn't it?
Mask? Yeah.
Does he have a gigantic gun? No.
Yeah, he
You're not
pulls out
thinking
like a
about the Joker.
16-inch fucking Rough Rider out of his pants.
No, that's the fucking Joker in the original Batman film, you moron.
No, it's not. It's Jim Carrey's A Mask, where he's got the green face and shit.
I'm aware of them. Okay, whatever. Anyways, what I was thinking about this. Just walk in with it tucked in my arm sleeve, right? And if this works out...
Seems safe.
Yeah.
I think that's fine.
And so,
Black Badge would be
pull it
fine
out.
with that. Yeah. IPSC would be fine. They'd be like, that's cool. I like that.
So, Adriel, I was thinking, should I run this at a 3-gun match?
Not successfully. You will
Yes,
far
is it-
out.
Could I do a pirate reload where I have 3 of these?
Oh, I don't know what our restrictions are like with pirate reloads.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there a restriction on how many guns you can bring out there?
Well, nothing. I don't know about pirate reloads.
Think about it. Think about
Because
it.
you can't,
know?
you
So-
can't reholster once you've drawn, correct?
Well, and you can't use the gun once you've abandoned it, so you'd have to like dump it at a dump station because you can't just like drop it on the ground.
Okay, I looked it up
What
to
if I have
see.
a dump
Crover
pouch?
is right. It's Jack
Could I
Nicholson
dump-
as the Joker.
I fucking knew it. Anyways, I have a dump pouch where I just keep dumping guns into it.
I don't think you could, like, how would you dump the thing without getting DQ'd?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're thinking too much about this.
So what I imagine is, just going bam, 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 dumping it because there is no way in hell the thing's got ammo after 6 shots. It's 6. It's done.
The
Next
thing
one.
I still
Bam,
want to
bam,
do,
bam, bam.
which is super expensive because getting the magazines is such a pain in the ass because they got to come in across the border and nobody wants to take on that for cheap. But is get the reproduction Luger magazines and run 3-gun with that.
Oh,
The big
please,
snail
just
drum
have-
magazines.
Or high capacity assault weapon circa 1892.
Yes, thank
No,
you,
I'm
Carl
think-
from In Range.
Yeah.
The snail drum magazines would just be so awesome for that because you're just like, all right, guys, yep, you got your 10, I got my lots.
We gotta.
Assuming-
Someone should make a 9mm like a 9mm carbine that takes Luger mags.
Ooh. Except Luger Max are single stack, and that's
Yeah, but you get the 32-round snail drum,
Yeah,
I mean,
and it's explicitly exempt.
and it doesn't say original manufacturer,
No.
so new manufacturer snail drums are good to go.
We don't even need to make a gun. Someone just needs to make an adapter for the Ruger PCC. Contact
That's a
Spectrum
good idea.
Ballistics and give them the idea. Slip it in Alkali's head. Hey, you know how the
The
Luger's
problem is
got a
that those things are
32-round
like 800.
drum?
The magazines are like $800.
It
though.
doesn't matter that the
How much is the
magazine costs as
reproduction
much as
ones?
the
once
gun.
enough people are buying it. Anyways, Adriel, before you go, what do you think people need to buy? Because it's gonna get banned.
I mean, the WKs are the obvious ones that that the liberals might ban. Magazines. They said that they're going to ban anything that can possibly fit more than 5 in it for rifles.
Well, which
Any
also is going to
Long
mean
guns, actually.
it's also going to end up meaning banning more than 5 for many handguns. Because if there's a PCC out there that takes the magazine, it's going to be down to 5.
Yeah.
So it's going to just fuck shit up.
Glock,
in a
SIG,
big way.
Beretta, CZ,
Yeah,
Smith & Wesson.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's going to be bad.
Anything else,
And
Adriel?
it's probably going to cover things like 22 caliber as well.
Well, they just said long gun. They didn't specify anything else. So long gun could be like shotguns, lever action, rimfire. They didn't say semi-auto either. They just said long
14
gun.
round too.
Yeah.
Well,
14
and they
round too.
also said that it has to be modified in a way that it can't possibly be modified back, which is like,
Chopped,
what
maybe?
does that mean?
Yeah, that could take your Enfield 10-rounder and chop it in half to a 5-rounder. Like some people used to do those to
I have
make
one
it
of
more
those. for the
streamlined.
class. Fucking
Ugh.
terrible.
Terrible, yeah. Ugly, unreliable. I don't know. I don't know whether that'll go in. Seems like they were just like throwing something on top of their platform just to say like we're anti-gun
They
still.
were literally just looking at what Police Souvient demanded when they called them traitors and copied that exactly. The Liberals' entire platform is written by the anti-gun lobby.
Well,
Yeah.
and the other thing is that they were seeing that guns were playing well, partially because, when we talk about wedge issues, they successfully wedged the conservatives in the sense that if the conservatives said, hey, we're going to take the hard line on guns, then they were losing the sort of sweet center of the political climate. And when they said, okay, well, we're going to, we'll cave a little bit, then we've got
Wishy-washy.
we've got the PPC, who, of course,
I
what's
honestly
the
don't
difference between
think.
a toilet and the PPC? Toilet's got a seat.
I
So-
don't think the conservatives lost very many seats to the PPC. They would have lost some anti-vaxxers.
I mean,
I don't know
I-
if they lost anyone because of the guns.
I
thing.
actually don't think they would have lost
there
anything.
were some seats that would have broken the other way, most likely.
I don't think they
Yes.
lost. I don't
Yeah.
think they would have lost seats if they just stuck a hard line on guns. Not enough people vote on guns. Guns are something people don't care about.
They
O'Toole,
were actually
Yeah.
losing votes on it in polling. It is
they claimed they were doing that in
biggest swing.
internal polling, but the thing is, if they just they were losing it because there was 5 days of non-stop what's your stance on guns. If O'Toole on the first day just said, look at our platform, no, yeah, I'm going to unban these because it's political bullshit that they were banned, and just let them run a day of bad headlines, the Liberals were going to run their attack ads anyways. The Liberals ran their attack ads even after he said, oh, we're going to leave whatever banned. So that didn't fucking work. If he had just, on the day that after the French debate, just said, yeah, it's in our platform, we're going to unban these guns, he would have gotten one day of bad press and everyone would have forgotten about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really tough battle because there's so many people who don't know firearms who get super upset about things. And I had so many people saying, oh, well, he's going to legalize machine guns. And I was like,
I wish.
no, he's not.
Recreational nukes is not that far off.
Yeah, I got to roll, guys. But
Okay.
enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah, buddy.
So, Crover, what have you done with guns recently then?
I don't know, man. I keep buying fucking things. Oh, I itemized. I cataloged, and I'm happy to report I broke 50.
Broke 50.
I have to go through and do a careful cataloging and record serial numbers and details and all of that. And
I should
That's
probably
what I'm
do
doing,
that
man.
too. I think I'm at 23. I'm not 100% sure.
See, I'm also not 100% sure because I haven't gotten into the safe downstairs where all the course guns are. And I'm pretty sure I forgot one or two.
see, I had a nice catalog, and then I had a few files where I got paid in guns. And so I ended up getting a whole bunch of guns that I've just never shot and never really thought about. And I really should, because some of these are really old, old guns in calibers I don't otherwise shoot. And I should just see, are they accurate? Are they worth keeping? What is the deal with these things?
So I still
But-
haven't shot my Carcano yet.
Oh, right. You haven't even done that, eh?
But the other thing is I want to buy a whole bunch of new things, and a lot of the stuff I want to buy is super memey. And I mean memey not in the sense of
Talk to me about that, sir.
oh, well, one of the things I want to buy, and it's expensive. I'm in this place where it's hey, YouTube channel is bringing in cash, but not enough to justify some of the things that would be really fun to do videos on. And one of them would be
I spent too much money on this shit.
I want to buy a trank gun.
A trank gun.
A trank gun. And do a video on trank guns
Tranquilizer.
and the legalities around that. Yep. Tranquilizer guns.
So have you talked to Fish and Wildlife lately? They might lend you one.
I don't think Fish and Wildlife is likely to have me on their
Check your
Christmas
animal
list.
control.
I did actually talk to the police who might be down to spray me with pepper spray at some point.
Can you get tased?
They might actually be down to do that too. So they said basically, yeah, sometimes we arrange this with reporters, and I was like, if you tell people that there's a defense lawyer, I can guarantee you could set this up as a fundraising thing. You could have officers bidding for tickets on this.
To go and tase a lawyer.
Tase a defense lawyer? I'm guaranteeing you that you'll have people like, we could make this a fundraising thing, officers buying tickets, and, you know, you might have like an officer driving out from Ottawa, you know, having got the winning ticket on this one. Because that's not an opportunity that I think comes up a whole lot for...
That'd be so, I applaud you, sir. That is fucking beautiful.
But I mean, that's, you know, that'd be something I'd have to arrange through the media thing. It's and I just got to decide if I'm, you know, if that's something I really want to do, because that really...
I'd be down.
It seems like not a whole lot of fun. Being pepper sprayed or tased, both of them, everybody I've talked to who's been through it has said it sucks. And fair enough. So
yes, but you're a YouTuber now. You need to sacrifice yourself for content.
Or I could just keep doing videos on, you know, like case law and news.
No, you gotta sacrifice yourself for content. If you're not prepared to go and get tased in the balls by a bear with pepper spray, then you're not prepared to be a YouTuber.
Well, it's funny, when I did that... When I did that bear spray video, the one where I was spraying the cow eyes, I got a fair whiff of the bear spray in the process of that. There's I sort of edited it down so you don't hear me coughing so badly, but there was a moment where I'm just like, because I breathed in a fair chunk of that.
I've heard stories of people who let bear spray rip in their house and had to leave for like the day.
Well, one of my favorite moments of just like every once in a while there's a criminal law file that's just hilarious, and one of them involved a police officer accidentally puncturing the can of pepper spray in the cop car. And so the whole cop car just went with OC, and nobody had a good day. Not the police officers, not the accused in the back. And yeah, I mean, it was just like, yep. I mean, it's the sort of thing that's hilarious because it's not me.
Yeah.
But, you know, tragedy is when I stub my toe. Comedy is when somebody else falls into a hole and dies. You know, that kind of thing. It's like that whole... I would not have wanted to be in that car.
No.
So I guess I'll go on to mine next. Guess what I finally got back? And by back, I mean this is brand new.
I can't believe they did that, man. That's great.
What is this?
So, what I had is in 2017, I bought myself a nice Smith & Wesson 357 Magnum. I traded in a Ruger I had because it started rusting inside here, like where the cylinder goes onto the arm. So I traded it in for a nice stainless Smith & Wesson, smaller, shorter barrel, because I'm like, well, if I want to do competition shooting, they all need 5-inch or less, so I'll get the 4.2. And then I found that the gun would spray shit on the entire left side of my body whenever I fire 357 Magnum, which I just thought was because of the shorter barrel, it's flinging unburnt carbon or something, until one time I got a chunk like right under here that freaked me the hell out. And that's when I went online, I'm like, yo, is this normal? And people are like, no, that's you need to go take that for warranty. And so I went, I tried to arrange warranty for Smith & Wesson's warranty center. This was like July of last year. And at the time it was some really small shop in rural Ontario. I tried driving up there one day when I had the day off after I did my motorcycle test, and they were closed by the time I got there. And then I got too lazy to ship them the gun. And so I just waited on it until it hit November, and I moved, and I had a week off. And so I looked it up. I was going to drive up there and found out that, hey, Warranty Service Center's changed to Wolverine Supplies Manitoba. And I actually went, okay, good. They're a bigger shop. I'll probably get, something done, more better. More better. So I shipped the thing off to Wolverine, and it's there for 8 months waiting for parts. And I message them every so often going, yo, what's going on? They're like, no, it's going to be a couple more months. Finally, I go like, look, if this is how Smith & Wesson is going to treat their Canadian customers, I'm not going to buy another Smith & Wesson. What the fuck? And then they go and say, we just got the parts in, we put the shit on, and we sent your gun back. So go try it out. It worked here. And so I go and I take it, and I load 327 into it, and I made sure that I'm using factory loads. And I shoot, and it's still doing it. I'm still getting peppered all up the full fucking left side of my body. So I managed to catch a picture of, on the forcing cone at the top there, copper jacket material on the top of the forcing cone, and I actually noticed the top of the forcing cone looked noticeably more worn than the bottom. And I asked Crover to send me a picture of his 357 that's like 40 years old, and it's uniform wear around the whole forcing cone. So I sent this back to Wolverine going, yo, it's still not working. Here's a picture with jacket material on the thing. Also notice the forcing cone wear is noticeably higher on the top versus the bottom. I asked a buddy of mine with a gun that's 40 years old, and his does not look like this. And they said, we sent this information to our Smith & Wesson rep with recommendations that he replace the gun, and he agreed without argument. So that's what this is they just went through the distribution and found one of these somewhere in Canada and got me it. So it was another about 2 months because they had to find it, they had to get it, they had to Ontario transfer times. But I finally got this, and I went to the range with it, and it's not peppering the entire left side of my body anymore. I get the occasional fleck in my arm, but you get the occasional fleck shooting a semi-auto, too. Like, the occasional flex, whatever. The other one, it was literally, I'd fire and feel it up the whole fucking left side of my body. Everything that was exposed and not wearing a shirt, all up my face, all up my arm. I'd get cuts in my arm previously. Like I said, I got a big chunk under my eye one time that freaked me out. So with this just getting like a fleck or two in the arm, I'm like, yeah, that's going to happen, whatever. Like, it happens with my 22 revolver sometimes, too, that Arminius I got. But finally, I have this gun. It's brand new. It's not broken. I shot like 100 and something rounds of 327 through it that day before it got, nice and disgustingly dirty. I was going to clean it, and I've actually been I shot this like a month ago. I've been too lazy to clean it. So there was that. And then... So I bought this.
That's the Chinese Liberation Army anthem.
That's without the Communist Party, there would be no new China. And so this is the Type 81 LMG. Obviously, I bought it when SFRC had a sale on, and I went and shot this. And one of the interesting things I find is that it shoots low. It grouped best with the bulk non-corrosive Chinese ammo, so I bought a bunch of that. But I found when I had this set to 100, it shot noticeably low even at 50. So I actually have the setting set to 300 right now to get point of aim. But also the sights on this are kind of fucking weird anyways. And the way to take the handguard off here is awkward as hell. Because you gotta put the sights to 0.
Have you handled the non-LNG version?
No, I haven't. I mean, I got to see it at Tactical Imports display at TACCOM once or twice, but...
I was going to tell you, I forgot. Taking that gas tube off is a pain in the ass because of the charging handle. It's in the way of you properly being able to fit your fingers around that knob. With the rifle, it is noticeably easier to take that off.
I mean, the thing with this charging handle is you can take this off without having to...
Oh, sorry, not the charging handle, the carry handle. Fuck.
Oh, this, to get around that and the turning it and fuck... it was frustrating. It ripped the shit out of my hands. They felt like crap afterwards. And the instructions in the manual were garbage. I tried to not need to watch a YouTube video. I had to watch a YouTube video anyways because the instructions were... as one would expect from a gun from China, frankly. Other than that, the bipod's very awkward to shoot off a bench with, which is the only option I have for shooting. And one of the interesting things that my buddy found out when I showed him this gun is if you cock the thing and hold it all the way back and pull the trigger, it will jam the bolt open. Because the hammer will try and fall, and it will fall in front of the bolt and stop it from going forward. You will actually have to take the dust cover off and jam something in from this side to reset the hammer back down to be able to let the bolt forward.
Did you
Oh,
give him
that's
shit for
quality design right there.
Yeah, I gave him a bit of shit for that. I'm like, I guess don't pull the trigger with the handle back, dumbass. What the fuck are you doing? Or because he just like he cocked it all the way, pulled it all the way back, and pulled the trigger, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
that? Why?
Yeah,
Why?
and then he tried to I tried to tell him to try the trigger out. He's like, no, I don't want to break your gun again. I'm like, pull the fucking trigger, dipshit. So he pulled the trigger.
That's how
And,
you really feel.
yeah, so he did that. But yeah, that was a learning experience and an interesting point of failure that I found out on these guns that now I know exists, and now all the 3 people watching this know that it exists, which means that there's probably Carrie Van Aert who's watching, and me. And I don't know if any of you have the stream open.
Well,
But
I tried to find the stream and I couldn't find it.
okay, so there might be a whole 2 people watching this that aren't me. Oh my god!
I'm so happy. Oh, there it is. Found it.
I think one of them was Adriel because when he left, it went from 4 down to 3. Yeah, the carry handles. What the fuck are you gonna use it for? I still don't. I'm too lazy to punch the thing out. The bipod, I'm too lazy to take off. I kind of want the rifle, and of course, as soon as I bought this, like a month later, the rifles came back, which I preferred the rifles anyways. But then I didn't have enough. I didn't want to buy the rifle because I already spent too much on this, and I didn't have the extra money left over. So yeah, that happened. I also still haven't bought the mount because the mount is fucking $300 or $200. I want it at some point. I do want to actually go and do that and mount like a 3x optic on the back of this at some point. So who knows what the hell's going to happen with that. And then mags, I bought a bunch of spare mags off Crover. One of which does not want to come out unless you do the AK mag thing where you hit the mag release with another mag to get more leverage and shit. Like,
Really?
I will try and pull it and the mag is stuck in the gun. Like, it will not budge. I marked it with red on the bottom of the thing there.
That's because you're just a filthy capitalist.
But I found if I take another mag and do the AK thing where you whack the mag release and push it out, then, it comes right out, no problem. So I just marked it with red and leave it at the bottom of my... I had to use a 50 cal ammo tin to carry those mags around because I have nothing else to carry them with. So...
Seems somewhat appropriate.
Despite being an LMG, it's meant to be semi-auto, just considered a guarantee of semi-auto only. I don't know what the fuck. Yeah. So yeah, the other thing with this is the length of pull is ridiculously short. Like you said, the rifle had the same problem. The length of pull is I don't know. You can look at this. There's a good 1.5 2 inches there of distance to get to my fucking elbow.
So with this big monster, notice that it fits right on my crux of my elbow. So.
Yep. And with the sights on the LMG, you've got 2 different notches, and the upper notch is meant to be used for the volley sights, which you sight from this side. It tells you 6, 7, 8 or so. The first time I let my dad shoot this, I didn't tell him how the sights kind of worked with that, so he used the top sight at 50, and he's like, I can't tell where I'm hitting, and I'm like, well, how the fuck were you using the sight? He's like, oh, I lined it up at the top here, and I'm like, no, you line up at the bottom, and once he did that, he was hitting things, but lining up the top, I'm like, okay, so you shot, you entered the bottom target and shot the top of the top target, so... Yeah, other than that, I mean, it's been okay. Like I said, this is just too long to use on a bench, but I have to use on a bench. I might just leave that folded and just use a rest instead. I know that there's some people who've said they like taking this and the bipod off, and that it's a fairly usable rifle otherwise. I'd still prefer at some point when I have hopefully the money is to get the actual ass rifle version with the pre-installed optic mount from TI, and yeah.
It's not a very comfortable rifle in any way, shape, or form. It's too short, the sights are too awkward, and then it's completely right hand only because the mount that the TI sells directly interferes with where your hand would go if you were a left-handed.
See, now that's not a problem if you don't use Satan's fucking hand. If you're a good Christian boy and you're right-handed like a good Christian boy should be, then you'll have no problems with that. And considering you're from very Catholic Colombia, you know, how did you get it? How did you get that
I'm not
satanic
left-handed.
southpaw?
I'm just left eye dominant.
You're a satanic southpaw.
Look at this thing. This single action revolver has a manual safety.
Why? And that's like what, $180?
I think it's 250 on, maybe closer to 200 on sale.
It has a
What's it
fucking
chambered in?
safety.
22 long rifle, but they also come with a 22 WMR cylinder.
And that thing's got enough power for the car for the bullet to make it all the way down that barrel.
Well, if you think about it, most rifle length 22s have long barrels and they just use regular ammunition. However, I'm a little worried about the cylinder gap. So maybe that plays into it, maybe it doesn't. You need to get one of these, Ian. Better yet, why don't you buy this one off me?
If the price gets good enough, we'll talk. But
Hey man, $250, man.
isn't that what you paid for it? Why wouldn't I just buy a new one for that?
Oh no. I bought it used.
Oh yeah, so you want me to pay full price when you paid half price?
No, I paid $250 new. I'm kidding. They're more
What is this, Canadian gun nuts?
This is like $300 in it. I know you've only been on a few of these, but we regularly buy and sell guns to each other live.
Oh, I
on
know, but I'm just saying the price might have to get a little bit better than that.
We'll talk. But hey, you're never gonna get this. This one is mine.
You know what? Yes, it is, and I'm okay with that.
I thought about
love the
buying one
reaction
of
to
those.
Dude, honestly, next time that they're on sale in Cabela's, just buy one. These things are solid. I'm gonna do a 5-minute review of these two guns right here. The good. This thing is the price point brutal. It's just so good. There is no reason you shouldn't buy one of these on sale. What else? Fairly solid feeling. These
Did
don't
it come with
feel
those
ripping.
pearl grips, or did you have to buy those
They
pearl
come with
grips?
a boring black grips.
Ah.
I bought the grips off a guy that sold me an identical one of these that I'm using in the class, but that other one is in burnt bronze and therefore boring. Now the black cherry, that's the next plus. The colors on these things. You can get boring black, boring silver. You can get burnt bronze if you feel like being a little ooh, but then black cherry. Ho 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 ho. It is literally purple. It's like it might actually match your shirt. Yeah, it might actually match your shirt.
Walking around with a burgundy gun.
Okay, now the bad. I've
amazing.
noticed some of these, like the other one that I have, these are finished with just Cerakote, and I have noticed that the finish is a little spotty on the other one. Also, excites. You've got a notch on the top strap, and that's what you got.
Well,
to
that's
aim with.
classic style for a single action.
It is. It is. Also, not sure if it's a plus or a minus. Does not have a half cock. This simply disables itself when you open the loading gate.
That's interesting.
And then you have to manually index the cylinder to the right spot for the next shot.
If you cock the hammer, it won't auto-index it while you do it?
Yes, but if you've opened the gate, rotated the cylinder to a funky spot, closed it, and then tried to... It gets a little funky, but it kind of works, okay? Also, when I took the firing pin out of this, every single screw on it was like fairy dust tight. Like it was just like boop, it just went off. Like, there was no torque on any single one of the screws on this gun. So you probably should take it apart if you know how to take apart one of these things, which I had to watch a couple of videos on, and it was kind of complicated, but it was not too bad. Now the Heritage Rough Rider pros. I mean, just look at it. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. It's just literally a rifle length barrel in a revolver. Why wouldn't I buy this thing? Manual safety might be a plus or a minus if you have somebody that definitely you don't want to shoot the gun. You know, the gun doesn't. You want to make sure that it is extra safe. Like this is about as safe as a revolver gets. Nobody that doesn't want to will pick it up. Also, it's got multiple safeties on it that you can rely on reliably. It does have the traditional three-position hammer where you have your safety notch, your half cock for unloading and loading, and then your full cock. So that's a nice thing. The grips are pretty good looking, but also it's one of its negatives. I don't know what it is about this particular grip, but it is not as comfortable as the Ruger. I don't know what it is. There's just some of the geometry is a little bit different and it doesn't feel as good. Also, I gotta tell you, I'm not sure what kind of finish is on this, but it really does feel like barbecue paint. You know the SKSs? Yeah, it's kind of like that.
That's not a favorable description.
Yeah. It's like the finish on the receiver is just not that great. I think the barrel is actually blued, which is nice. And the finish does kind of match on the receiver and the cylinder, but it doesn't look very good when you look up close at it. It really does not. Accuracy, I haven't tested yet on the Rough Rider, but this guy, because of the non-adjustable sights, tomorrow when I go shoot it, I'm bringing a whole bunch of different types of ammunition to see what actually hits point of aim. Because that's how you have to do it, folks. When the sights are the sights, you have to get the ammo that the sights are working for. There's 5-minute review. It was actually might have been 5 minutes.
So
I guess trigger feel.
Mm.
Pretty crisp.
There is one of those Rough Riders for sale on CGN right now for $250 shipped.
There you go, Ian. You gotta get that guy.
Yeah, I think I'll let that one go for now.
There's a Nagant revolver from 1932 for $7.95.
I'm tempted about that one. I saw that one. And I was like,
Did you see? I know you saw it. The Zip 22.
Oh yeah, I sent it to you.
Wait, what?
There was a Zip 22 for sale on Gun Nuts.
Huh.
You know
And
what
I
it is?
saw it, and I'm just like, I didn't know this was legal here. I thought these were
Turns
prohibited.
I looked it up. They have a 5.5-inch barrel. Those
Yeah.
things.
And so I saw that, and I'm like, this is objectively the shittiest gun ever fucking made.
Now I'm kind of tempted to see if it's still up there.
I'm
Oh, that's
trying to
nice.
find it. It probably sold to. I think I might know who it sold to.
Oh, did you link it on Discord?
I linked it on a Discord, and a bunch of people were like, "Yo, dude, you should buy this. You should buy this." And the next day, he's like, "Guess what I just bought?" But didn't actually tell anyone what he just bought. So we're thinking he probably bought that, but
And sadly, it's probably nowhere near enough for me to go and borrow that thing.
no. Well, the other problem too is the guy wanted $500 for it, and I'm like, I really want the shittiest pistol ever made. I don't want to spend $500 on the shittiest pistol ever made.
See, if I won the lottery, just for the meme value of it, I would go and get the, what is it? I forget what they call it. The high point yeet
the
cannon.
Yeet without winning the lottery, if they sold a Canada legal version of that, I'd buy it. I don't give
Well,
a
that's the
fuck.
thing is, the reason why it would have to be to win the lottery is that then I'd then have to have it taken to a U.S. gunsmith to add a longer barrel to this thing. And so it would be a yeet cannon with this barrel sticking out.
I mean,
You know, like,
everything that you're saying here is it makes sense to me. I mean, you really just need to do this.
but it would just be this ugly gun with this like little bit of barrel sticking out like a pervert at the subway. And
Listen, I am a big fan of chode barrels. I love
And it
chodes.
would, it would just be like, I've spent how much money on this just for this to look look idiotic, and just
Look
point
at who
out
you're
like
talking to, Ian. Look at who you're talking to.
that is fair. But yeah, it's it would be entertaining at the very least.
I think it'd be far more than entertaining. You knowing that you have the only yeet cannon in Canada would make it even better.
Yeah, except that the instant I said, "Hey, this is the only yeet cannon in Canada," somebody else would import a yeet cannon.
Probably. One thing that did happen to me is, guess who got 18 squibs on this gun?
I'm
You?
guessing you did.
I did. You know why? Through a combination of sheer luck and pure stupidity, I decided to run mouse fart loads through this 24-inch barrel 5738 special lever action. Now, what a mouse fart load is a completely underpowered, laughably slow load, custom made, usually for revolvers. And this was a 158 grain projectile with approximately 3.5 grains of tight group, which makes it go about 700 feet per second out of a 4, 6, or 8-inch revolver. They are a joke. Now, what happens when you put something like that through this is that friction and physics fuck you.
Yeah, no, that just sounds like a bad idea.
I'll tell you, and you're gonna love this. First squib, I was like, oh, I can't believe I did this. Then the second, third, and fourth, I knew I was onto something. And then I said to myself, let's science this bitch.
Let's science this bitch. See, the thing is,
I ran 50 rounds through it, and I got 18 squibs.
Did you stack them up in your barrel like that one fucking high point rifle?
No, I was knocking them out with every single shot. It was like, click. Okay, there's another one. Open it up, knock out the slug, rinse and repeat. But on one particularly amusing shot, and listen to this, because I was laughing. I'd go... and then I continued to hear it, because that's what kept happening. I kept hearing it fizz. And at the very end of travel, I hear boop, and then the bullet pops out and lands about 2 feet in front of me.
See, if you could actually get that down, you could, get this tuned to a fine art so that you could just have a video of a gun going thump. That would be beautiful.
And the funny thing is, you loaded those the exact same way I load my 38s for this. I take CamPro's load data at the lowest values they list for their bullets.
Yep. Because I am going to penny pinch the shit out of my 1 pound of tight grip.
So also, I linked that Zip 22 in the stream chat.
Oh, is it still up?
He doesn't say sold. It doesn't say sold yet, so...
Oh, lordy.
He wants $500 for it.
I know. That's the only thing, is he wants $500 for it, but at the same time, it's a Zip 22.
It's a white one.
Yeah. It is objectively garbage. You have to stick your finger in front of the fucking barrel to charge it. Like...
Yeah, it's like literally dangerous as hell.
Well, actually, it's not that bad, objectively, because it uses 1022 mags. If it used worse mags, then it would be definitely...
Okay, it uses 1022 mags. It doesn't cycle. I think Gun Jesus is the only person on the entirety of ever to have an entire magazine cycle in that gun without issues.
No. He never had it cycle the whole time.
No, he did. He managed to get a whole 10-round mag and went, I think this might be the first time this has ever happened in a Zip 22.
Yeah, it's... I'm saving my pennies for the thing I want to buy next, which is a big meme gun, which is that idiotic railgun.
Is that the one Demo Ranch did a video on?
Yeah. Now, I'm hoping I get my business license, because I don't know that that's legal necessarily. Because if that thing at its hottest, if it clocks over 500, which I doubt, but it's,
If you saw that Demo Ranch video, they were not above 500 with those.
Yeah, it's probably an 84 sub 3, but you still got to be a little cautious.
What about energy, though? Because it's both, right? It's speed and
16 joules. If it's under either, then it counts as 84 sub 3. The law is just confusing as hell. People get that one wrong all the time. But when you're importing something that's got a fun switch option, and which the CBSA has never seen before, you better damn well believe you want it to be 150% certain that it is legal. So, yeah, I want to make sure that thing is not going to cause any problems before I go ahead and do so. And the way to do that is to have the license that lets you do all sorts of crazy stuff.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Oh, have we gotten exactly what you think is going to get banned, Ian? What do you think is a hot buy right now? You gotta get it.
No, I'm not playing that game. That's playing the game of predicting the future. And the thing is, if I'm correct, then people will say, Runkle, you told them to ban it, and they banned it. We blame you. And if I'm wrong, then people will say, Runkle, you're an idiot. So there's no winning that game. Don't play stupid games.
I mean, the answer to that is anything semi-automatic and handguns. Because the liberals have said they want to ban those two things. So there you go.
Yep.
Anything semi-automatic
I'm going to go
and
with,
handguns.
by the end of the liberal, campaign, the MP5 will be banned. And I feel that's safe because it's currently banned.
No,
And-
that's debatable. Actually, that is actually debatable. And the reason I
The
say
full
that,
auto MP5?
okay, a full auto MP5. You didn't specify
Yeah.
a full auto MP5. You just said MP5. It's banned by name, and that's why I said it's debatable because the theoretical best case scenario of the OIC court case gets not just the May 2020 OIC overturned, but every OIC overturned, and OICs deemed not an acceptable means of prohibiting firearms, which would
I
repeal
think that would
magazine
be a-
capacity restrictions and the 90s bans.
I think that would be a very unlikely scenario.
It's
but
unlikely, but it's not impossible.
the full auto would still be covered
Yes,
by that.
The full auto would still be banned because it's legislatively prohibited, as would
Yeah,
short-barreled
the giggle
pistols.
switch. Yeah, the giggle switch is still out.
But an ideal court case result gets us a case.
I wouldn't mind that.
Pardon me
I
for
mean-
trying to inject some optimism into the bullshit we had to deal with getting the exact same government for $610 million.
If I win the lottery, what I try to do is I try to get the rights to the Velvet.
Oh,
Apparently, people have bothered the guys at Beretta before about this, and Seiko, because Seiko.
Wait, is Seiko owned by
Seiko's owned by Beretta, and Seiko owns the license rights to the Valmet name. And so, apparently, when Beretta's come through Stoger, Canada, and had their reps around here, people have mentioned the Valmet M78 to them, and they said, that's kind of interesting. But at the same time, they're never going to do it because our market's not large enough to warrant spinning up all the tooling for it. They wouldn't be able to import it to the US because of 922R. And even if they can import it to the rest of Europe, there's cheaper AKs people would rather buy in most of the rest of the entirety of the world than buying a Valmet M78. Now, the one...
I still feel like just convincing them to make one for me would be hilarious. But I don't know that I could pull that off.
See, my hot take on this is that the law just says the Valmet M78. It does not specify Valmet of Finland and the M78 manufactured prior to 1995. So theoretically, if there were a company to found itself by the name of Valmet, and they made just a standard-ass AK and called it the M78 or the Hunter, according to the way the law is written, the law says the Valmet M78, Hunter, and Hunter Auto are exempt from the ban. So you now have a company named Valmet that is making a gun named the M78.
I think
Regardless,
this is how you get Bill Blair to show up at your house with a baton and break your kneecaps.
I think Bill Blair would
that might be the
fucking
other
miss.
day.
He'd be too drunk to fucking hit me.
Well, that may be the case, but still.
But that's what I've always been saying here is don't try and make the Valmet M78. Make a Valmet M78.
I like the way you're thinking. So, what do I think is going to get banned? These. Okay. Pistols. They're going to try it.
Well, what I think they're
going
probably
loose.
going to do is probably going to, and this seems to be the writing on the wall, is that they're going to create a fund to bribe municipalities into implementing their handgun ban. Because for the Liberal Party right now, the worst thing that can happen is they have a handgun like a municipal handgun ban, and nobody comes. It's like, we have a municipal handgun ban party, and nobody shows up. Like, nobody says, "Hey, we want in on this."
Toronto would do it 100%, even without incentive.
Or even if it's just Toronto, right? If it's Toronto and nowhere else, then that looks really bad for them. It looks like this is just some giant waste of time.
Frankly, I think what's going to look worse for them is when they implement it, and literally every municipality they implemented in has at least one person sue them over it.
Oh, I mean, if they whisper it out here, I'm launching a challenge.
I'm going to bankrupt myself challenging the city of Toronto if they attempt to, because fuck if I'm going to let them take this or anything else without fighting literally every legal means that I have to fight them trying to take my goddamn shit. They can fuck themselves.
Yeah, and I think that constitutionally this law has problems, and in fact, in ways that might actually get Quebec going, we're not actually so keen on this notion that they're going to bypass the province in order to directly give power to the municipalities. Because
Montreal would love it, and then somebody...
that's the thing, is if you're Quebec, if you're Quebec, you're going to be like, I don't know exactly about this. Like, I don't really like this notion of them giving these kinds of powers to municipalities. So, we'll see. That's a big court fight. I mean, I've already got one court fight maybe in the queue. If I've got to fight for a business license, that's in the queue. Because, I mean, I don't know, right? I don't know what they're going to do. I think it's justified. I think it's a perfectly reasonable application, but I don't know what they're going to think, right? I've already got the Section 74 battle ongoing. It's like, how many fights do I personally need to get in with them right now at once? It'd be nice if one of them could...
position. You needed to get that.
I did put in for the CFO position. I didn't get it. So...
It was so disappointing.
I would have liked to have gotten it. At the same time, I'm not super disappointed, because it probably would have meant that I might have had to drop some of the court battles on the go. It might have meant that I have to, it would have meant that I have to shut down the channel, which I think does, as much as it's something I enjoy, I also think it might have, that it's something that helps people. I've had people say, "Hey, listen, I managed to stay out of trouble because of something I saw on your channel." And I was like, awesome. So, yeah.
When you finally become a judge, are you going to have to private every single video you've ever made?
The chances that I ever become a judge are low. I mean, candidly,
dreams, buddy. You can write law.
I mean, normally, because it's political parties that are doing this, I don't think any of the political parties like me. So, and I mean, that's fair. I'm not really a big guy who likes political parties either. So the odds of me becoming a judge are not great. That's just realistic. I mean, most lawyers don't become judges. And yeah, so
maybe one day you'll sit at the highest court of the land.
Maybe. I very much doubt it. I think the Supreme Court would probably walk out rather than, if I was appointed, they'd have a walkout, just be like, no.
Appointed by Prime Minister David Montez.
I've had dreams. Where I'm like, should I die? Nah,
yeah, I mean, I can't see that as being a likely scenario.
I speak the wrong romantic language.
And it's not too hard for you to learn French if you already know one of them.
I mean, I know some French, but I'd have to really up my French game for, But I mean, that's something I'd like to do anyway, but... the
one phrase that everyone learned in school, est-ce que je peux aller aux toilettes?
And then the answer, no.
Now, Is there anything else pressing that we'd like to discuss before we wrap it up?
Buy more
There's a
guns.
Maple Seed running a Gun Heller on this Saturday. If anybody knows anybody that still hasn't done their Maple Seed, go to mapleseed.com to see the dates. Eventbrite. Adriel is making me shill, and he's not even here to pressure me. Yes.
I should possibly see if I can sign up and try to get my Maple Seed badge. Because I did the Maple Seed. No, I didn't get it. I came close. Didn't get it.
I do need to actually see where one of those is going to be near me at some point.
They run them in Ontario all the time.
I know.
Because I mean,
lazy.
At the end of the day, I said this in a few videos. Like, I am really good at firearm law. I am not John Q. Badass with a gun. Like, I am not. You know, if you watch any of the guys who are like really skilled gun, like, nope, I'm just not. Like, I'm not Carl. I'm not other Ian. I'm not, any of these guys. I'm still learning, and that's fine. We all got to be at different places. But it's I leave the how to be a badass to other people in other videos.
I find that ends up being fairly. I find that ends up being fairly common a lot with like the more political commentary channels. Is you don't see a lot of them actually like handling guns. Like when I get recommended random shit from people out of like California and stuff like that, and like Armed Scholar doesn't handle guns. Reno May doesn't handle guns. Guns and Gadgets doesn't really handle guns.
I think the other thing is I don't do a whole lot of like review stuff. So I mean, there's some stuff where I'll go and do a review and be like, hey, here's a discussion of what this firearm is. But, that doesn't happen a whole lot. I will, at some point, I got to do my video on like being a newbie at 3-gun. And there you'll get to see lots of me sucking at 3-gun. Because I was not, like, I didn't walk out onto the 3-gun field and immediately make myself the second coming of,
Moses Browning?
Well, no, I was probably going to go with,
Sherry Michalek.
Yeah, Michalek is probably...
It's the hair.
But, I mean, yeah, it's...
I mean, even when you look at people like Gun Jesus, he's also said multiple times he's not like a great shooter, and he's never really practiced that. And you look at where he normally scores in the matches he participates in, it's normally like middle of the road.
Oh, I expect at the Desert Brutality that I'm going to be like bottom if I'm not like DQ'd or like just marked as dead. Like
Ian Runkle score rip.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Which reminds me, I gotta get enough insurance for them to ship my carcass back if I do die.
I think the only gun lawyer I really see doing like a lot of shooting stuff is Colleen Noir, and that's because he's Matt Reeves. Oh, he's a lawyer too. Okay, I didn't know that, but yeah, he's said that, and I've not paid attention. Yeah, so but I mean the thing with those guys is they've also been doing that.
I can't blame you. Like, short shorts are really distracting.
Yeah, they've both also been trying to do the whole like do a lot of gun content shit for years now at this point. Like Colleen Noir was like with NRA TV for a while, doing a bunch of like big Second Amendment stuff.
At this point.
Oh, I mean, I would love to do a show with him talking about firearm law because he's actually a lawyer and has the background for it. So. Like, that would just be, its own sort of fun thing. But I have no idea how to get the attention of anybody sort of in those leagues. You send them a message and it goes nowhere, and you're just like, yep, that's what I'd do too, so...
Well, and I think with him too, he's more knowledgeable about general U.S. law, because I know that there's like a couple California-specific channels that for some reason have popped up on my feed that are a bit smaller. Like, I know Armed Scholar is a lawyer, and he talks specifically about firearms law in California. He does do more of some of the stuff, like he's been covering like the concealed carry case out of New York that's at the Supreme Court now, and he's covered some other stuff. He focuses mostly on California and the Ninth Circuit, because that's where he lives, unfortunately.
That's gotta be terrible, man. That's gotta be terrible.
Yeah.
See, I had a guy that was in that came to one of my classes, who is a ranch hand that lives in California, but he comes up here for work. I'm not sure why, but and he says like, yeah, no, like I was talking to some of my buddies in the U.S. and like, you do have to do that, you have to do that, but they're also in California, so he's like, yeah, and I can buy this and I can buy that, and they're like, well, fuck you.
Well, I mean, that's the thing with, like, you can buy the Sulin fucking thing without whatever. The 10.5-inch barrel. You can buy
I'm not
Chinese
sure
crap.
I'm not sure. I would trade that over, full cap max and the AR-15 for sure. I mean, this is nice for a assault rifle circa 1892, but I want something in design in the last 50 years.
I would 100% trade this to get an AK with full cap mags, which is one of the reasons why in the new year I'm going to be looking for jobs in Texas.
Yeah. Anything else, fellas, or shall we call it a night?
I don't know
I'm
anything else
down
you
to
guys want to
call it a-
shill.
Well, I just probably am
Watch
going to go do some
Runkle
leather
of the
work
Bailey.
and
Like and subscribe, Runkle of the Bailey.
Yep.
yes,
Like
that.
and subscribe to Runkle of the Bailey. Go book your firearms license courses at Foothills Firearms Training. And I'm irrelevant, so I don't have anything to promote for myself because I don't make any content and I don't run a business.
You
No,
should
but
start
you
like a
are
drop
moderator,
shipping
and-
business.
No, you're a moderator, and therefore you're Hitler.
Yeah, that's right. I am that evil Nazi moderator for the Canada Guns subreddit. So don't break the rules on the Canada Guns subreddit, and I won't have to shoot your virtual pupper or whatever the fuck we do.
Kill that stream now.
All right, that's been this show. I'm gonna hit the end live video button.
Bye.